Well, of course, that's our question, isn't it? Why are we bothering to do this? We're certainly not doing diet questions. We're not doing nutrition questions. It has nothing to do with growing. But we want to acknowledge that it is an extraordinary event. There were two incredible events that happened, we feel. One was the insurrection, the riots attacking the Capitol. The Capitol of the United States was occupied by insurrectionists. And second, we wanted to address what we feel is a constitutional item. And we're recording today on Friday after the events, and we don't hear anybody else saying this. If everybody else that we heard was saying this, we wouldn't bother to say it. And that's true. We've tried now. This is actually about a third time of sitting down and deciding what we were going to do. And we want to emphasize the constitutional aspect because it still exists. It's still out there. The tear in the Constitution where Donald Trump tried to rip it apart for his benefit still exists. And we're going to discuss it here in a few minutes. The big issue is the duties assigned to the vice president. The vice president in this case is Mike Pence. He's a Republican. Donald Trump, of course, is a Republican. Donald Trump had told them, hi, go there on January 6th and don't do what the Constitution says to do. If you don't do what the Constitution says to do, we win. You're with us, Mike. We win. Now this exists. The situation is going to exist this time with new people. This time it would be, if the same situation was happening, it'd be Joe Biden as president, Democrat, and Kamala Harris as Democrat. But the same situation exists. And that's really the purpose of why we're saying it today. The situation exists that people from the same party they're presumably on the election, the president and the vice president, currently in the same party, two Republicans or two Democrats, are going to be in a situation where the vice president counts the votes. It's their only job. It's a simple job. But in this case, Donald Trump said to Mike Pence, vice president, just don't count the votes. You can do anything you want, but you have to show up and you have to say, no, I'm not counting the votes. The Constitution says the vice president will count the votes. But there's no mention what happens if he doesn't count the votes. Donald Trump said, just delay, refuse to count, and try to give me at least 1 day. Ted Cruz is on record. He said, get us into tomorrow night. Give us that whole day the next day to do other things. Well, that's really a question, isn't it? That's really at issue, isn't it? Because Donald Trump said, we'll win. Ted Cruz said, give us time. Time to do what? Well, what they said was that they would be then able to go into the state legislatures. The state legislatures in question in the battleground states that Trump lost: Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan. Those states, wherever that Donald Trump could turn the votes. While this was happening, while people were asking, hey, what's the result? What's the result of Mike Pence not counting the votes? Then the Trump insurrectionists would be moving in these other states. For example, in Pennsylvania, with only a few days left till the president's term ran out on January 20th, they would certainly be saying, hey, we've passed, we've got the votes. Come over here. Donald Trump, if you'd like to bring this constitutional crisis to a close, we're ready to cast our votes for Donald Trump through the state legislators. And so the net result, the result that Donald Trump wanted, was for him to be declared president. Look, if you're drowning and someone saves you, you can go ahead and take issue with who it is. But if you're like me, you're going to give the guy a hug, I'll give him a big kiss. You know what? He'll be my friend for the rest of my life. If you saved my life, I really don't care what you did that morning. I don't care if you offended somebody. I'm going to like you. I'm going to adore you. I'm going to want to know you for the rest of my life. Mike Pence saved the republic. For 4 years, Mike Pence, didn't exactly do anything helpful, that I would see or what I would say. He was the president of the task force, until he got thrust aside. Mike Pence was in a very difficult position for 4 years, and he took a lot of heat from everybody. But when he saved the republic, when he said, Donald Trump, no, Donald Trump, I'm not going to go along with you, even though it's to his benefit. Even though, for sure, Donald Trump offered him bribes of priestly kingdoms. The bribes that Donald Trump offered to Mike Pence must have been, the avarice beyond description, and never having to worry about another thing his entire life. Whatever Mike Pence and Mother dreamed about, believe me, he was going to get. Mike Pence turned that down. Mike Pence saved us. Mike Pence saved us as a world from Donald Trump taking the Constitution and ripping it to shreds and declaring himself dictator for life. Mike Pence for president, 2024. Yeah, I think that's a good question. Any time that there's a disputed election in the future, if this is not fixed, Donald Trump has announced, has revealed to anybody looking that there's a seam in the Constitution. There's a seam there that's a weak point. It's a weak point because they assumed when they wrote that provision that these people were, at the best, not going to be bosom buddies. There was not going to be two Republicans there. The way that it worked was that the president got the most votes, but the guy who got the next most votes was the vice president. So certainly he could be depended upon to count them. Once you see that he can no longer be depended upon to count them, you have the potential for abuse. Anyone seeing this that's involved in politics, let me put it a different way. There's a lot of people a lot smarter than me who can now see this. A lot of people who recognize that this is a potential tear in the Constitution are going to be addressing this behind the scenes. And they're either going to say, hey, let's keep this as an option, or they're going to say, like me, hey, fix this thing. So yeah, to answer your question in the most direct way I can, yes, this is a weakness in the constitutional fabric, and in the future, those 77 days between the election and the inauguration could be a time when it's ripped apart. Thank you for asking that question. It's a very good question. Today was our follow-up video. Today is our follow-up video from the video we did a couple weeks ago when this was first happening. And you can see I'm more calm about it. I'm just, I feel like a weight is off my shoulders. I thought that Donald Trump was going to do anything and everything, including blow up the world, to remain dictator. Did I say dictator? Yes. Donald Trump was going to become the Putin of the United States. Well, I'm really happy. I'm thrilled with what President Biden is doing. I'm thrilled that he's addressing the COVID situation. I'm thrilled that he's saying that he's going to have millions of people in vaccine through the federal government leading the way, that millions of people will be vaccinated by April, the end of April. And I think that's going to go a long ways to making a safe situation for the whole world. And so I thank you for bearing with me, bearing with my shortcomings, my anxiety of what was going on. I'm really happy that we're now in a not Trump era. If you don't mind me saying, I hope he's arrested. If he's done crimes, if he's been accused of crimes, I hope he's arrested. I hope E. Jean Carroll has her day in court where he presents the DNA. There's plenty of legal things up the road for Donald Trump. But as we leave him, we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled programming of minerals, vitamins, everything that you need for your health. Follow us. Make this channel your channel. Make this channel our channel as we work together for our health. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.